everybody, this is Patty the Leather Lady. Once again, we're talking about saddles today, a Western saddle, that is, how to know when to replace the fleece on your saddle, or we call it a shearling also, and some tips and tricks and things to know. So I get a lot of people coming in that want to replace their fleece when it really doesn't need to be replaced. However, some of them that come in and they're pretty bad. So today we're going to find out what is, and then also some other tips. So let's get started. So as you can see, I have this Western saddle that I flipped over. It's on its back. Never, ever, ever, when you are putting your saddles away, never place them on their horn such as this. That's just a tip for saddles. This is going to break down your skirting in the front. So not a good thing to do. As you can see, somebody's definitely done that with the back side of this, and then it is all crinkled. Okay, so that's just one tip for the ones that are starting out in saddles, saddlery, and that kind of a thing. You know, some young people like to watch these videos. So not a good thing. Can this be repaired? Possibly, but we could also put a stiffener in to hold it. But that would be something for your leathersmith to do, your saddlery to do. First thing I would do, this is an old saddle. I wanted to see if there's any holes in it or anything like that. You can see that the saddle strings have gone through the tree on this one. A lot of the times they do that. You are going to sometimes see holes and things around that. Does it bother it? As long as it's not pressing on the horse, you don't have to. I'm going to show you a trick about that because I'll zoom in on this in a second. But the first things first. So what I would do is take a sheepskin brush. I sell these on my website. And it's under, I think, the Sheepskin Care, but it's a bigger brush and it's a nicer brush. This is just, I've had this for eons, and we clean blankets with it. I would clean it to make sure that everything is firmly attached to the skin. If it's a real sheep skin, also it will begin to tell me if this is real or not. But I would do that. I would just go ahead and go over it with a brush of that nature. Refleecing can be very expensive. It could be about $400 because not only the shearling is expensive, but your labor to do it, because I have to take the whole saddle apart on the bottom and then put it all back together because these are laced through the saddle. Okay, and I'm not just gonna cut around it and put fleece over it. That would. Some people do. Be careful where you spend your money, and ask them, how many of them have you done? How many, of these saddles have you done? Okay, so when you bring one and you've got, say, holes and pockets all over the saddle, then yes, you need to bring it in. So if there is holes up in this top area. So in this top area is where your tree is. You can feel it. If you rub your fingers along it, you can feel the tree, okay? You can feel it. It goes all the way up in here, all the way around. So this is a tree that goes the whole length of the back. There's nothing here but skirting, okay? This is just all skirting. It's just the two pieces of leather together. This is where you want to focus. Okay, this is where you want to focus, okay? Because if there's holes in that tree area, then yes, you need to have your fleece replaced, okay? If it's some little bit of holes on this area, say a mouse chewed some or whatever, as long as it's not in the tree area, you're good to go. This is more aesthetics looking. It does touch the horse a little bit, especially around the rigging plate. This is called a rigging plate. This is where, it can also be a pressure point because when you're cinching that saddle down, it pushes on that. So I'd want to make sure I've got a good coverage of sheepskin there. Okay, so it's a very easy answer. If it's not, holes are not on or thinning on the tree part, you're still good to go. All right. The other thing on these is I'm going to check and see. Yeah. Sadly. So when it comes to shearlings on the underside of your saddle, it has become so in the recent, how do I put this? In this day and age, They can make shearling to look so real, and it's not, okay? Same with leathers. When we go to look, sometimes you really don't even know yourself if it's leather until you really get a handle on it or get to the manufacturing and find out. Especially when you're doing cars and airplane seats and all that kind of stuff. Same with shearling. You don't know until you really examine it. This one is fake shearling, okay? Feels really, really good. However, I'm going to try to close up on this, but I seriously doubt I think I can. But if you look underneath here, there is material on the underside, all just material. And it's stitched in right, but that tells me that it is fake. So one thing you want to ask your person that is going to be refleecing, are they going to refleece with real shearling or are they going to use fake? Here's the thing. If you're going to spend a huge amount of money, I'm sorry, but $400, and this is 2024, whenever you're watching this, maybe somebody's watching it in 2050 or 2060, you know, it's in this day and age, $400 is a lot. So that's a lot of money. I would want real fleece. And the other thing is that it holds up a lot longer. It whisks away the sweat from the horse. This is then synthetic. So it's not going to whisk away sweat as much as real shearling is going to. It also keeps it cool, a little bit cooler in the summer and warmer in the winter. And that's why if you go on my website, you'll see me selling a lot of real sheepskin products, especially for the horses and saddle pads and bumpers and anything to do with horse, even Western nose bands, putting sheepskin underneath that to keep it protected from sores and things like that. So be sure that your saddle repair person is using real shearling. Now, when you do that, don't be shocked because when you replace this shearling, it's going to be sort of a bright orange. Okay, I'm just getting ready to do this one. It actually bleaches out through the sunlight and things like that. Doesn't take long for it to turn this color. So this is a shearling I'm putting on this old 100-year-old saddle, and it's going to go back on. Now, do you see where the tree is going there? See, this is the exact thing. If I'm going to put this there, that is where the tree is going. This is the part where you're really, really wanting to watch to make sure that there's no missing shearling there. All right. Somebody's going to ask me, can I wash it? Hand wash it with gentle soap. The nicest thing that you could do to your shearling is try to keep it clean. Best way is to brush out the dirt after your rides, especially if you've been riding in mud, that kind of a thing. Keep it up. It is skin underneath, so it's going to start to dry and get crack. I can't talk today. Just can't talk. The best, try using baby shampoo. Yes, baby shampoo. It's most gentle. Think about it with your baby. When you touch your baby's hair, it's all nice and soft and things like that. It's very, very gentle on the skin as well. Doesn't make teary eyes, and their saddle doesn't need to cry. But I don't know, when you get somebody this big on it, it might. Sorry, I'm in a mood. I was going to share with you one thing. So if you get a saddle back, so you've got your stitching line here, right? And look at here. I'm going to pull this in just a little bit closer. Hopefully I can get this in here. Sorry about that, guys. And what you can do, and I do this a lot when I'm around the stitching, okay, is take a box knife or some sharp knife. I like use box knives a lot for sheepskin. And because it's tight, it's just basically they put this in there and it's pulled it through and it's pulling the sheepskin through to the other side. You can actually take a little knife and go ahead and just cut a little bit, just not a lot, not very deep, and then you can fluff it up. And see, then it brings it up. So if you got a saddle like that, this is a tip that not a lot of people talk about or even know. But then you can actually hide that saddle string a little bit more, and that brings up the fleece around it a little bit more. But I do that around stitching a lot just to bring it out, and it also aesthetically, see, now this one's all nice and puffy and higher than the others, because once we get done with the shearlings, Sometimes we go and we shave and trim them so that they're all nice and even. We trim the edges and that kind of a thing. So that's a helpful hint. Check your saddle. See if you need to do a little bit of adjusting. And just be sure, don't go deep. You're just cutting those top hairs a little bit and pulling them up and fluffing them up. All right? Hopefully this was helpful. Don't forget to go to theleatherladyllc.com. Take care and have a blessed day.